Hello everyone, I'm Shefali Sharma, an LLM student, and today I would be giving you a brief about what is a company and what are the salient features of a company. So whenever we hear about a company, being a layman, first thing which comes in our mind is if there is a company, there will be a name of a company, there will be place of a company, there should be some group of people who are running the company, there should be a purpose of a company. These are some common things which comes in our mind when we hear about any company. But with respect to the statutory provisions or with respect to the Companies Act 2013, a company is defined under section 2 clause 20 of the Companies Act 2013. It says that a company is to mean a company which is incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. Under this act means a company which is registered under Companies Act 2013. Under any previous company law means the Companies Act of 1956, which was prevalent before the Companies Act of 2013. There is a very famous definition of Professor Hini which defines a company as a company is an artificial person created by law having separate entity with a perpetual succession and a common seal. Now when you break this definition, you'll get its salient features. First, it says a company is an artificial person which is created by law having perpetual succession, common seal, separate legal entity. So all these are the salient features of the company. Starting on with the separate legal entity. A company is said as to be a separate legal entity. How is it? It is when a company is registered. Upon the registration of a company, the company possesses a legal personality. Okay, a company possesses a corporate personality which is independent and which is different from its member. The members of the company and the company itself are both different. You cannot say that a company and the members of the company are both same. Even if a shareholder is holding all the shares of the company, he will not be regarded as the company. He will again stay a shareholder who is different and the company who has its own separate entity. Alright, this principle is propounded in the case of Solomon versus Solomon Company Limited. In the next video, I have discussed this case in the brief. In this case, it was held by the court that the Solomon and the Solomon Company Limited are both different. Okay. Also, the same thing happened in the Lee versus Lee Air Farming Company Limited, where the New Zealand court allowed the compensation to Mrs. Lee against the death of Mr. Lee, and held that Mr. Lee and Lee Air Farming Company Limited are both different, and Mr. Lee was the employee of the Lee Air Farming Company Limited. So this is separate legal entity feature. The second is the limited liability feature of the company. Under this, the members of the company are only liable to contribute towards the payment of liability of the company to an extent to their guarantee or to an extent to the shares they hold in the company. Okay, they cannot be held liable unlimitedly or beyond the shares they hold in the company. This feature is different from the case in partnership firm. When you refer to partnership firm, except the LLP, the partners of the partnership firm have unlimited liability. Alright, they are responsible to contribute unlimitedly towards the payment of debt of the partnership firm. But in the case of company, the liability of the members of the company are limited and limited to the extent of their contribution to the company. Alright. The next is the feature of transferability of shares. The shares of the company can be easily transferred. Section 44 of the Companies Act 2013 says that the shares, debentures or other interest of any member in a company are movable property. Alright, means the shares and debentures of the company are movable property and they can be transferred easily with respect to the restrictions of this, respect to the clauses which are mentioned under the Article of Association. Next is the feature of perpetual succession. Perpetual succession in itself means something which is never ending. okay, which is no end. It's just ongoing and ongoing. So in the same way, the company has its perpetual succession. That means the company's existence is not affected due to the retirement, insolvency, illness, or death of any of its member. The company will not lose its existence due to any of these reasons or otherwise. Also, there was a case of Meat Supplies Company Limited. In this case, what happened was all the members of the companies, they were all killed or they all died in a journal meeting due to a bomb attack. So even all the members of the company died, the company was still in existence. Okay, the company was, since it was incorporated, it had a separate legal personality and it was ongoing. It continued to have its corporate personality and it was in existence, even though all the members of the company were no more, they died. All right. Next is the company can sue and can be sued. Okay, it again falls through the separate legal entity concept of a company. Since the company has a corporate personality, it has a distinct legal entity. The company is capable of performing all the functions which a corporate personality can perform. A company can sue and it can be sued. Like in the case of Solomon versus Solomon Company Limited. See, after versus, there is a name of a company, Solomon Company Limited. So, a company with its own name and with its own identity, registered identity, can sue the other person and can be sued by the other person. Alright. Next is the common seal. This was an important feature of the company. It is not into much into existence now, because earlier all the affairs of the company required a common seal of the company. Alright. Just as to authorize that yes, certain papers or certain contracts are being approved by the company in the name of the company. But now this common seal is optional and they are required only, this seal is required only in case of some important documents. Alright, just behind the company's authorized official signature, this common seal is put on. But this is now optional, this is not mandatory now. The next is common objective, that the members of the company should have the common objective. Okay, there should not be a clash of interest when a member is a part of a registered company. So he should act for the company, because the company, being an artificial person, cannot think, cannot perform. It is the members of the company who have to take decisions with respect to the objective of the company, which is set on in the memorandum of association. So the members of the company should have common objective, and the objective should be the same which is mentioned in the memorandum of association. So these were the salient features of the company. Hope I could deliver my knowledge to you. Thank you. I'm always open for suggestions. Please let me know if any. Thank you. Stay safe.